Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today, I'd like to talk to you about a course that we're going to be presenting very soon that I strongly believe could save your trading career. Now, if you don't believe me, look at your own trading right now. And I'd like you to look at this picture because this is usually the way most people look at the very beginning of the year. Okay. Now, most traders begin the new year with a set of trading resolutions. I'm sure you have yourself. I know when I first started trading, I did. At the beginning of every January, you make these resolutions designed to turn your trading around. For example, maybe you want to make just a little extra money each month, or maybe you'd like to go on that dream vacation, or maybe you're thinking about retiring and getting all of your income through trading. So these are the resolutions most traders make at the beginning of the year. Now, let's take a look at the next slide, because this is usually what happens. And most likely it happens within the first 3 weeks of the new year, because this is when reality sets in. And this is where 80% of all traders finally realize that their hopes and dreams are really not going to come true. Maybe that $10,000 system you purchased for the new year, thinking it would turn everything around, is failing miserably, and you've lost tons of money already in the first 3 weeks. Or maybe just your own trading, your own system, or your own trading technique is just not working, or nothing seems to be giving you the results you thought you were going to be getting. All right. I know this from firsthand because I went through this myself when I first started trading, and actually the first couple of years, because I just couldn't make ends meet. Now, at this point, which is usually estimated around the first 3 weeks of January, this is where traders have to come to a crossroads and make a decision, because most traders ask themselves, boy, what am I doing? How much longer can I keep going on like this, losing money? Or else they say to themselves, maybe I shouldn't be trading at all. Well, before you lose all hope altogether, there actually is hope. And this is why I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, my company, Specialist Trading, and we formulated our special stock college. This is our elite stock trading college. This is 45 years of tips and techniques that we've rolled in together into a 5-week course that we really feel will help elevate your trading so that you won't have to suffer and go through that once again. Now, my name is Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading for 45 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, where I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years, I was a specialist. A specialist is someone who made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. Now, I know that most people would say, well, Steve, you've never had to go through this because you were on the floor. You probably had advanced information, and you had access to a lot of high-speed stuff. Well, believe it or not, I suffered through most of the same things that you're suffering through. It's the same things I teach my students that have just started trading for the first few weeks. Even though I had access to a lot of information, I just couldn't make ends meet. And for a couple of years, I almost thought I was just going to quit trading altogether. But I was lucky enough to have some mentors that changed everything for me and taught me a lot of the things that I teach my own students. And those things are the things that have sustained me now so that I can continue trading well past 45 years. So this is what we plan to do on the course. Give you what we feel a really good, sound education so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions and get you over that hump so that each year you can go on and make consistent trades. Now, before we begin, as always, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results and what's actually going to be offered in our course, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember that all examples, since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, another way to get education on a daily basis is to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there. Every day I post different information, signals our strategies have generated, and give you a little bit of information as to why they were generated or what type of strategy category they fall under, and also some bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great free education on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter. So we are first and foremost an educational company. That's our only goal, to educate traders, because education is really the key. This is what separates the traders who have longevity from the traders who maybe have a good year and then they lose everything. Because when you educate yourself, you no longer have to rely on someone or something else to tell you how to trade. I mean, think of it. How do you make your own trading decisions? Do you go to a blog and find out what they're doing? Do you wait for the earnings to come out or listen to the so-called gurus on TV? This is the way most traders make their decisions. I know I did. and it really doesn't work. There's no sense of consistency. The only thing that will give you that is tried and true methods that have stood the test of time. And so this is what we teach you. And in fact, this is what we're going to teach you in our course. So my goal is not to force feed you signals, but to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. Same edge that was taught to me 45 years ago is the same edge I teach all of my students around the world in over 115 countries and in every state in the United States. Now, since we begin in just a few seconds, I just want to make a few announcements. Remember, this is a class. So if you happen to feel that this is a Zoom type of interaction, a meeting, no, it's not. It's really a static PowerPoint presentation. So please, if you haven't done so already, please disable all of your cameras and microphones, all right? This will just be a static presentation via Zoom, but just looking at PowerPoint slides. Also, remember that I want you to ask questions. I'm going to show you a lot of slides and show you what's offered in the course, but please remember to ask the questions at the end. I don't want to stop for every slide. We'll be here far too long answering questions. So if you have a question, just write it down or remember it, and I promise I will answer at the very end, like in the next half hour or so, okay? The only other question I will answer is this being recorded? Yes, it is. We record all of our webinars. So if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, I see some people said are in the chat box saying they can't see the screen. Remember, many times it's just your internet connection. So if you log off and then log back on again, it'll be fine. So if you're still having difficulty, don't worry. Every one of you will be sent a link to this recording so that you can watch it over and over again at your own leisure, okay? So once again, disable all microphones and cameras and ask questions at the end. With that stated, let's begin. And I want to start out with a little bit of wisdom. Once again, I said this earlier, but there really is a holy grail. There is a perfect trading method that generates amazing results. I mean, think of it. All of us are looking for it. I know I was looking for it when I first started trading. If I could only buy that system or that indicator, it would solve all my problems and I would make money every day and retire by the time I was 30, right? That's what we all want. But ultimately, that's not the holy grail, because there is a holy grail, but it's not what we think of. It's simply called educating yourself. Education is what will sustain you because it gives you the power to rely on what you've learned and to feel confident and to ultimately make your own trading decisions. You cannot make your own trading decisions if you're not educated. If you're not educated, the first thing we do is we pay for some signal service or we go to some chat room to have them tell us what to do, but that's not the way trading should be. You should make your own trading decisions. So that's the holy grail. Now, what I want to share with you, the following examples are trading education process in action. In other words, this is what I will be teaching you. This is just a very small sample of what I will be teaching you in the stock college that we're going to be presenting. And all of the examples you're going to be seeing happened within the first 3 weeks of January. So if you've hit that wall thinking that that master system doesn't work that you purchased before the end of the year, they got a great discount off of it, only cost you $10,000, or that indicator that's supposed to give you tremendous signals just stopped working. Let me share with you what you could have taken advantage of with just a small sample of what I'm going to be teaching you in the course, okay? Let's look at this example in ATVI, okay, Activision. Now, coming into January, we had been going up, but all of a sudden it looked like we hit a little bit of resistance. And in fact, the first week of January, it started heading lower. At this point, most traders would say, well, we're in a downtrend. I'll wait for it to break out or I'll wait for a sign because it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. What I'm going to be teaching you in the course, the very first thing you're going to learn is whether we are in an uptrend or an overall downtrend. Because if you're in an uptrend, you will never look to sell. You'll only look for buy situations. And if you're in a downtrend, you will only look to sell. Well, this really powerful tool, even though it looked like the market had been going down for the last week, was telling you that the overall trend was up. So that's actually a buying opportunity. Now let's see what happened next. Right here, on this day, which was the 11th of January, we had a nice update. Still not enough to tell us that we're breaking out to the upside or that anything unusual is happening. But with a pattern recognition method I'm going to be teaching you in the college, it actually would have generated a buy signal right there. This is based on a pattern that repeats itself over and over and over again in any market, in any time frame. In fact, I use this on a daily basis on my own personal trading. I've been using it for 45 years. This was the first pattern I was taught on the floor of the stock exchange by my mentors, and I continue to use it. Now, this is a highly consistent pattern, but consistency does not mean that every trade is going to work. It means that you will have losses from time to time. Now, is there a way to increase our odds for success so that we can, sidestep some of these losses? Yes, there is. There is a confirmation tool. There is a filter that we can apply to this. Now, once I teach you how to apply this, you will be able to confirm if this is a signal you should take or not. Now, we applied the filter and it said, yes, it's confirmed. This would be a good buy signal, a high probability setup. So all you have to do is decide where you want to enter, decide where you want to exit, decide where you want to place your stop. And we provide you with all that information in the college. And look what happened in the next 4 days. The stock jumped up 20 points in 4 days. Now, I know we've all heard about Activision in the news. For those of you who have not, let me share with you what happened on, I believe, the 18th of January. Microsoft came out and they announced they wanted to buy the stock Activision for nearly $70 billion, okay? MSFT is buying Call of Duty maker Activision, ATVI, for $68.7 billion in the biggest gaming industry deal in history, as global technology giants stake their claim to a virtual future. So this news came out, very good news, right? Unfortunately, this is the way most traders trade. They'll wait for the news to come out and say, oh man, should I buy now? Or gosh, I missed it. Well, let's look at the date this came out. On January the 18th, that announcement was made that Microsoft wanted to buy Activision. And if we look at the chart, here's January the 18th, right here, when it gapped up tremendously. Remember where this pattern generated a buy signal and where it was confirmed? 4 days earlier. So this is what we're going to be teaching you. Remember, most traders lose money because they're relying on outside sources like news events, some guy on TV or a chat room to tell them what to do. Once you have education and you learn how to listen to the market and how to confirm your signals, you can decide and take charge of your own trading destiny. All right, let's look at another example here. Here's a less expensive stock, HKIB. All right, it's only a $4 stock. Someone would look at this and say, yeah, it looks good, but you know what? It's gained about 30% of its value in 3 days. I don't think I want to buy it here. It's kind of overbought. Maybe I'll wait for it to come down to 3 level. Okay. Well, once again, the first thing we do when we teach you is to find out if you're in an uptrend or a downtrend. And this tool said you're in an overall uptrend. So you may not want to wait too long for it to come down because it's telling you it wants to go higher because it's in an uptrend. And look what happened. The next week, nothing really happened. To the normal traders, someone would say, well, there's nothing really happening here, just kind of in a holding pattern. But once you know how to identify this pattern I'll teach you, you would have seen that there was a buy signal on this next day, the 20th of January, just a couple of weeks ago. This is a high probability setup, but can we increase our odds for success? Yes, by adding the filter. The filter confirmed this. It said, yes, it was an even higher probability trade. So let's say you took it. Well, you could have made 2.25 points in 1 day. Now, I know most of you say, well, that's not very much, Steve. I can make 2.25 points anywhere. Well, remember, this is an inexpensive stock. That was comparable to a 48% price gain in 1 day. Now, think if you were trading Tesla or Apple and you had a buy and you went long and the stock gained nearly 50% of its value in 1 day. You think you'd be happy? It doesn't matter. See, this pattern will find setups in any price level, in any stock, in any time frame. So it's all relative. Let's look at DWAC. All right. Here it looks like we're going nowhere, kind of just in a trendless market, right? If we add our powerful tool, which tells us if we're in an overall uptrend or a downtrend, it's telling us we're in an overall downtrend. So therefore, we only want to look to sell this. We're not going to look to be a buyer at all. If we look for that pattern, we see that there were 2 signals to go short. Now, if we decide to go short, if we like to go short, maybe we like to buy puts, we could have taken these 2 signals. But remember, we want to confirm them to see if they're high probability. So the very first signal was not confirmed. So we would not have taken that. But the second one was. So you could have sold short the stock, could have bought puts or some type of spread. And then let's see what happened. Well, it didn't really go down. Sure, on this day it went down a little, but not enough for you to really make a profit. And then it screamed back up. This is what we mean by consistency. Nothing works 100% of the time, even if it's confirmed. But here's the good news. let's say you would have used one of our average stop levels. You would have lost 5 points in this. Not a little loss, but also not a great loss either. So you lost 5 points. Now, coming into the last portion of this chart, our tool confirmed that this was in an overall uptrend. So now, as traders, you have to switch. You have to be able to, transfer your feelings back and forth and be flexible. Because if you just stay in one mode, you'll be like most traders and just, think, gosh, this stuff doesn't work. I lost 5 points and now I'm not going to trade this anymore. Well, if you had done that, you would have missed this pattern generating another signal. So let's say you lost 5 points. If you switched in reverse and then got long on the 6th, it was a confirmed signal to go long, and you could have potentially made 30 points in the next week or two. Okay, so you could have potentially made back that loss you had and then some. This is what we mean by consistency. Consistency does not mean every trade's going to be a winner, even if it is a high probability setup. It means that if you continue to be diligent and continue to trade, ultimately, you'll be able to take care of those losses. Another example here, NUE. Looks like a very sideways market, right? Nothing happening. Well, if you apply that very powerful tool, it's telling us we're in an overall uptrend. So even though we may be going sideways, the trend is still up. So see, this is what most traders do. They'll see a sideways market and they'll ignore it or say, oh, there's nothing happening here. I'm going to go on to something that's exciting or something they're talking about on TV. But sometimes the best setups are the ones where nothing is happening, because that's where you can find this pattern. There was a buy signal right there and another buy signal right there based off this pattern. Now, let's add our filter to bring the odds in our favor even more. Let's see if it confirmed these, and both were confirmed. So we could have taken either one of these signals, and look at that nice little profit we had, about a 10-point gain in a couple of days, right? So we've got a profit of 10 points, but then look what happened. Gave everything back and we lost everything, right? I'm sure we've all gone through this before. Here's another thing we will be teaching you in the class. Remember, we talked about exits and stop placement. I will be teaching you a method that you can use that actually would have generated an exit right here, where you could have taken a 9-point gain and said thank you and bypassed all of that loss right there on the right. This is also going to be taught in the course. You'll know exactly how to apply it. Let's look at the next example in WFC, Wells Fargo. All right. We're just looking at the small sample size here, but our powerful tool is already telling us we're in a downtrend. You say, okay, so we're in a downtrend. That means we only want to go short and look for sell signals. And the pattern generated 2, and they were both confirmed. So you could have taken any one of these two. They're both confirmed. Let's say you want to buy the puts, whatever you want to do, and they're not really going down, and then this happens. So we're going to take a loss. Let's say we used our standard generic stop placement. We wouldn't have lost a lot, just 1 point, okay? But here's the good news. A buy signal was generated on that day. It was confirmed. So we would have once again stopped and reversed. Remember, you have to be flexible. And you could have potentially taken advantage of this really nice rise that happened in the next week or two. Now, once again, before you lose a lot of those profits, you could have used that same exiting tool and taken a 7-point gain. So obviously, you could have made back that point that you lost, and you had 7 points to potentially make. So this is the beauty of these methods. Remember, consistency does not mean every trade's a winner. A consistent method is one that's able to recoup the losses that it just experienced. So you don't want to have a system or a method that just goes into a series of losses and losses. I'm sure you've all been there, right? And it just keeps losing. Every trade is a loser. That's not the type of method you want to be trading. All right, let's look at some sell examples now, okay? Here's Moderna. Now, this is coming into January, about 3 weeks ago, once again. Some traders looking at this would say, well, Steve, this is major support. I bought that $10,000 system where it tracks what the institutions are doing, and this is major, major support. You got to buy this here, right? Once again, we teach you that the first thing you need to do is to find out whether you are a buyer or a seller by looking and identifying the trend. And you're in an overall downtrend. That's what the tool says. So there's no reason you would be looking for any support. You're only looking to identify this pattern if it generates a sell signal. And the good news was it actually did. It generated a sell signal here on the first trading day of January. Now, you could have bought the puts, but before you do that, say, why don't we confirm it with our confirmation tool, okay? Yes, it was confirmed. So now you have a very high probability setup to go short And look what happened. Now, if you're wondering where to get out, we teach you several different exit plans. But once again, using that plan I talked about, you could have exited here with a 103-point gain in just about 2 weeks. Now, when everyone was losing tons of money this past couple of weeks in the market, our methods were actually generating some really nice winners. Now, if you missed that, there's always more setups being generated with this pattern. This pattern repeats itself over and over again. Let's look at Peloton, all right? Everyone's been talking about Peloton, how it's been going straight down. Well, look at this. This is going back about 5 or 6 months. This is when the stock was trading around 100, 120. Now, at this point, it had been going down July and August, and then all of a sudden, it just hit a bottom and started to go back up. Most traders said, that's it. It bottomed out. Let's buy some more. This thing's going to the moon, right? And then we all know what happened to Peloton. Well, at the same point where everyone thought it was hitting some type of short-term low, this indicator was telling us that you should only look at this in terms of a seller's point of view, because the overall trend is down. And any bounces, any rallies should be viewed upon as selling opportunities, not as something to buy. Now remember, this was in August when the stock was trading between 100 and 120. And we all know what happened after that, right? Now, no one called us up and told us all the terrible news that was going to happen in Peloton. So how did we know to be sellers in the stock? Because the market tells you. You see, when I first started trading, I did the same thing. I was reading earnings. I was listening to all the guys on TV. I was looking at all the economic reports. And guess what? Nothing worked. Okay. I still couldn't make any money. It wasn't until I started using these simple tools that I want to teach you that's when my trading started to turn around. Now, we said we were only going to focus on the first 3 weeks of January, which are really all the way down here. So let's blow up this portion, and that's from the beginning of January in Peloton. Now, this pattern generated a sell signal. Obviously, the trend is down, and it was confirmed by our filter. So this just happened on the 12th, a couple of weeks ago, and you could have made an easy 10 points using that exit technique. And in just a week, that's a quick 10 points in the stock, and lost from roughly from 35 all the way down to 25. Let's look at FTNT, Fortnite. All right. Once again, most traders looking at this would say, wow, we're going straight down in the first week of January. Then it looks like we hit a bottom. We have a bullish engulfing pattern. We have reversal patterns. I think we're at the beginning of an uptrend. I'm going to buy this. All right. This is how most traders make decisions. Once again, this is why 80% of all traders fail. You're basing your decisions off of conventional wisdom that really has no consistency to it. What is the market telling you? Well, this powerful tool we have to telling us what the overall trend is saying that the overall trend is down. And this bounce is actually a selling opportunity. So we look for this pattern that we teach you now. The second step is to now look for the pattern. And there, the pattern is generating a sell setup. All right. That's a very high probability sell setup. But we want to increase the odds in our favor even more. So we add the filter to confirm it. And yes, it's confirmed now. So now we have the best of both worlds. We could have sold short Fortnite and in a week made 30 points. Okay. Not a bad little trade, right? Here's an example in Netflix. All right. Obviously, Netflix was heading lower at the end of November, but it looked like it was maybe bottoming out here. Well, at this point, actually, that tool we talked about was actually issuing a downtrending market setup. So even though it looks like it's bouncing there, it was telling us, no, we're just in the beginning of a downtrend. And at this point, we want to look for sell setups using that pattern, and 2 were generated right here at the end of December. If we add the filter, we would have seen that they were not confirmed. So we wouldn't have taken them. But look at the very next bar. Another sell setup based on that pattern is generated. And this time on the 31st, the last trading day of the year, it was confirmed. So we could have gone short Netflix, bought the puts, because it's an expensive stock. Look what happened. 220 points coming into last Friday. Remember, everyone has had trouble this last couple of weeks in the market because it's gone straight down. How did we know in advance that the trends were lower? Because of these tools that we teach you in the course, and you'll be able to find them for yourself, and you'll be able to make your own trading decisions like the ones I've just showed you. Now, these are all things I'm going to be teaching you in the course. I'm also going to be teaching an advanced technique that I personally use that I've never taught before, and I've never really talked about And this is a really good technique, but it's a little bit more advanced, but you'll be getting all the rules and knowing exactly how to apply this. So this is only reserved for members of the Stock College course. Let me show you a few examples of how this works. Here is that same pattern generating a buy signal, okay? And look what happened. It didn't work very well, right? Well, on this signal, you could have potentially still traded it and still made 12 points. I'm going to show you how you could have done that. Here's another example in COP, ConocoPhillips. Here was a sell signal generated at the end of January, okay? You could have taken that signal. Nothing really much happened for the first week, but then obviously it went way against you. Even still taking that signal, I'm going to show you how you could have potentially made 18 points. Lastly, we're looking at a buy signal generated in AVGO, Broadcom. If you had taken that signal using this advanced method, you could have potentially made, even though it didn't work, you could have potentially made 90 points. I'm going to show you how to do this with this advanced method that I've never taught before, never really talked about before, but I use it in my own personal trading from time to time, and you'll get all the rules to this advanced method. Okay, let's recap. I've just shown you numerous examples of actual setups that occurred within the past 3 weeks. Now, think of it. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg, just a small sampling size of what you'll be learning in the Elite Stock Trading College. All right, there's just so much more that I haven't talked about, so many more advanced ways to trade, so many more advanced and different ways that you've never heard of that are going to be taught in this weekly course. Now, here's the curriculum. The first week, we'll talk about the foundation and the building blocks of stock trading. It goes against most of the things you've ever learned, and it's so much simpler than what you learned. You won't be dealing at all with interest rates, with earnings, with conventional wisdom of trading. This makes things really simple. It's our philosophy on how to trade. In week 2, we'll talk about combining 2 of our most successful methods together that really form this synergy for success. In week 3, we'll talk about steps 1 and 2. This is the week we talk all about entries. Steps is a great product that is just basically generating high probability entries. So if you already have a method that is okay, but it's just not giving you the best entries, maybe you buy too late or you get in too early, steps is perfect for any trading that you're doing. In week 4, we're going to talk all about options with Eric Wilkinson. Now, if you're not familiar with Eric, let me just share with you a little bit of information about him. He's also known as the Wolfman. He's a veteran floor trader and has been trading just about any market you can think of, options, futures, commodities, stock indices, on a variety of products for just dozens of years. And he's been on CNBC, Fox Business News, and other financial news networks. He's with Pro Trader Strategies. He's a really acclaimed teacher that deals specifically just with option trading. He's going to sit in with us for a week only, telling you how to apply options to all of these methods and techniques. And then lastly, in week 5, we'll talk about our dynamic stop placement. Okay, this is a new tool we have that is based on market behavior for initiating your stops. You won't have to look at patterns or support and resistance. It's all based on market behavior, and we're going to show you how you can apply it to any trading vehicle. Okay, and then lastly, we'll put it all together. Any final questions you have about trading, formulating a plan of your own, we'll put together and talk about, and we'll discuss any questions that you may have. Okay, so let's break it down. This is our Elite Stock Trading College. Remember, classes are starting this Friday. We wanted to give this last beneficial webinar for all the people that have been thinking about it, because we want to keep class size to a minimum. We don't want it to be the way we did in the beginning when we first started doing this years ago, where we had, just literally hundreds of people and making them too large. We want to keep it to a more intimate size. And once we get to that point, we're closing it up. So we still have a few spaces left. If there's any interest, that's fine. Either way, we are starting classes this Friday. Now, here's an extra bonus if you want to join us. We're also going to throw in a full year. That's a full 12-month, a year of the PTS Primo platform free. Everything you saw today were examples generated on our platform. And everything I showed you today is one click away using all the tools. And remember, you just saw the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more tools we're going to be talking about, and it's all one click away on our platform. You'll get access to a full 12 months of the PTS Primo platform just for signing up. Now, remember, instant access to all our live classes starts this Friday. You'll get all the things I talked about and more. So let's break it down real quickly. You're going to get over $19,000 worth of courses, things I've accumulated in 45 years. Normally, this would cost you roughly $5,500. We're going to discount it down one last time, 10% down to $49.95. Here's the best thing about this. We realize that some of you may still not be able to come up with $49.95. Don't worry, we have payment plans available. Pro Trader Strategies have been kind enough to establish payment plans. So even for a small deposit down, you can still be in class this Friday. So there's no reason to say, well, gosh, I just can't make that. I can only afford maybe a portion of that, but that's okay. For a small deposit and a small monthly payment plan, you can still be up and running in every class, okay? And remember, this includes 1 full year of the platform. That's about an extra $2,000 that we're not including in that $49.95 class. So this is a great, great offer, and you're getting tons of information, and you're getting a class taught by someone who has been using these things for the last 45 years. Now, remember how we started out the presentation? If you are in that mode where you're sitting there saying, why am I even trading? I mean, I can't do this very much longer. I don't have enough money. It's not going to last. And who am I kidding? I'm not made out for this. Don't worry, there is hope. Like I said, I know what you're going through. I was there. I thought when I first started trading on the floor that I was going to be, canned and fired because I couldn't make any money for the company. It wasn't until my mentors taught me these exact same things that I was able to turn my trading around. So if you're having trouble with your trading, if you're not seeing the type of results, I think I can help you turn things around. You don't want to be sitting here a year from now saying, gosh, why didn't I take this? I wish I could have. Whoops. A year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the Stock College course for 2022. So take advantage of this. Here's how to sign up for the classes, which begin this Friday. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts, all the payment plans. I would strongly suggest giving them a call at 310-598-6677 because they can give you a quote. There's no obligation. They can establish a payment plan with you. And you can decide for yourself if you want to attend the first class on Friday. Most of you, I'm sure, will say, hey, that's not bad. Boy, I don't have to come up with $49.95. So I would strongly suggest giving them a call. Once again, there's absolutely no obligation. They're there to work for you and with you. And they'd be happy to answer any question you may have concerning pricing. Now, if you'd like to sign up or go to the info page, that link you see at the very bottom is the link right here that will take you to the info page for the college. Now, it's not a live link, but we've just posted a live link on the chat box. If you look there, there's a live link, and you just have to click that on, and it will automatically take you to that info page, okay? Now, I'm going to leave all this information up here right now for you to copy down, and if you have a question, kindly go to the chat box, type it in right now. I promised you I would be answering at the very end, and now's the time. So just ask any question you like, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. Okay, someone's asking, classes starting this Friday at what time? Well, the tentative time for this Friday is 10 o'clock. Most traders seem to like that time when we've done this college in the past. And the reason why is because it's still during the trading day. And then you have maybe an hour or so after we've done to still look at the market and see what you've learned and look at stocks. And also you have the full weekend to go over all the information that you've absorbed. So this is one of the best things about this, where you have a full free weekend to look over everything and look and say, wow, this really works. And you can go through examples on the platform and see how easy and how simple it was to apply. So we usually have it on Fridays. Now, this is just tentative because sometimes we've had it where we've had enough students. We have students from all around the world, and so it doesn't fit in with their time schedule. So oftentimes they've asked us to change it. So we've changed it to the weekend. We've changed it to Fridays before the opening. We're flexible. I can do it anytime you like after the close. As long as we get a majority ruling on this, we'll do that for everyone, okay? The other thing I just want to mention is that all of our classes will be recorded. So if that's not a good time for you, or if you feel like, well, I can't make the first two, but I know I can make the last couple of ones or three, don't worry. You can still get everything via recording from Pro Trader Strategies, and you can watch it whenever you like. In fact, every class will be recorded for you to keep for your learning expertise. So that's really what it's about. It's all about being there live in class and then watching the video over and over again to really, just absorb and understand the information that we presented. Okay, good question. Any other questions? Someone saying, will you be teaching? Yes, I am teaching the class. There's no one else that's going to be teaching. The only thing I think you got confused with Eric. Eric is just sitting in. Since I don't trade options, I think it would be better for someone to help you understand options as someone who actually is an option educator, rather than someone who doesn't trade them per se, but can just teach you what to do. I'd rather you learn from someone who actually trades options for a living, and Eric does that. So yes, when you saw Eric there, it doesn't mean that someone else would be teaching the courses. I will be teaching the other classes, and the one class that deals with options, Eric will be teaching. Okay, I hope that explains it. He's more qualified to teach it than I. Okay. Anything else? Yes, just call up or contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the pricing. They're also in charge of all the tech support with the platform. So anything concerning the platform or the videos or pricing would be directly sent to Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of that. Anything concerning teaching, anything concerning the actual teaching and trading of the methods and systems and strategies are directly sent to me. Now, one extra thing that we didn't mention, all students of mine get my personal email address. So even if you can't make the classes to ask questions, you can ask me anytime you'd like. You can send an email. And I've been answering emails all day today, and I still have some more to answer after this presentation. So anytime you have a question, something doesn't make sense, you say to yourself, gosh, I couldn't make the class, so how do I have my questions answered? You can always email. It makes no difference what time of day or if it's the weekend. I'll get to it as soon as possible. So that's one of the things as well. And also that doesn't end after the weekly course is concluded. You can still send me emails a year later if you'd like. As long as you're a member and you have my email address, you can always send me emails, okay? So I really want to show you that our devotion and dedication to teaching you is really, serious. And we're not trying to just sell you something and walk away and the way so many other so-called education websites do. We want to be there for you. We want to be there with you every step of the way. Taking it from someone who has been there before, I know how frustrating and how just not sad, but just kind of deplorable it can be to be sitting there and looking at yourself and go, gosh, I can't believe I'm losing more and more money. I mean, you're really desperate. And you're saying to yourself, maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. Well, before you really put yourself down that much, once again, there is hope in the form of our new stock college, okay? So if you're even just interested or have questions about it, there's no reason not to call Pro Trader Strategies. Give them a call at 310-598-6677. Quit punishing yourself, quit pushing yourself down and thinking how terrible of a trader you are. There's a way to elevate you for success, and we want to teach you in this class, okay? As we close now, if there are no further questions, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your Wednesday and for seeing this presentation. I hope you learned something about our philosophy and how really we want to educate you. But more importantly, I look forward to all of you being in the Stock College class, which starts Friday, and being one of my students. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.